On today's Know the Law segment, we're going to talk about how Michigan's Medicaid program can impact someone after an injury, especially when those medical bills start to add up. Attorney Tom Sinus is here from Sinus Dramus Law Firm, to explain all the things people need to know. Hey, Tom, good morning.
Hey, Todd, how you doing?
I'm well, but we're going to break things down really simple here, and maybe you can walk me through this as well. Let's just start with the definition of what Medicaid is and who qualifies for it here in Michigan.
It's confusing, isn't it? Because there's another word, Medicare, that often gets confused with Medicaid, but they are two very different things. Very simply put, Medicaid is a joint program between the federal and the state government to provide health insurance, either at no cost or reduced cost, for Americans of limited income and resources. So people can qualify for Medicaid, of course, based on their limited resources, their limited income, and in other scenarios. But the idea here is that Medicaid is health insurance for those of us amongst us who have less resources than other people.
Okay, so having a hard time meeting regular insurance bills, Medicaid steps in, says we can help fill this gap. How does that connect to auto insurance and, say, an injury case?
It's a great question, and it's becoming a more prevalent question because years ago, when the Affordable Care Act was passed, the federal government and the states, many of them expanded Medicaid. So you have a lot more people now on Medicaid in the United States than you ever had before. In addition, back in 2020, as we've talked about before, people under Michigan law could choose different types of auto insurance that provided for different levels of coverage depending upon what they selected. And one of those options was to provide people with Medicaid coverage the option of purchasing the least amount of no-fault coverage that only contained $50,000 in medical expenses. All of which is to say that when you're involved in an automobile accident, you may very well have a complex entanglement between your auto insurance claim and your Medicaid coverage. You may not, on the other hand. If you have an unlimited auto insurance policy, one that provides for unlimited medical expenses, then your auto insurance should be paying your medical bills. If, however, you are on Medicaid and you've chosen this reduced amount of coverage and you've exhausted that auto no-fault coverage for your medical expenses, then you become reliant upon the Medicaid system. So people who receive Medicaid, if they are involved in an auto accident, need to carefully analyze their particular scenario and how it relates to both the Medicaid system and the auto insurance system.
And when it comes to the auto insurance being one thing, what about personal injury? I mean, I know those two are connected, but I mean, sometimes personal injury happens without auto.
That's a great question, and it's such an important distinction here. The general concept is this: if you're involved in an automobile accident in Michigan, as we've discussed before, you likely have available coverage to you called no-fault benefits that includes payment for your medical expenses. If you've chosen unlimited no-fault coverage, then you have that coverage that will pay for your medical expenses for the rest of your life. But even if you've chosen somewhat limited, you likely still have no-fault coverage available for your medical expenses. If, however, your injury occurs outside of an automobile accident, then there is no-fault coverage, because no-fault coverage is auto no-fault coverage. So let's say you're involved in a trip and fall, or a dog attack, or a dangerous product. Your medical expenses during the pendency of your claim, if you're on Medicaid, are going to be paid by the Medicaid health insurance system. And what that means is that if your case results in a settlement, then Medicaid likely has some sort of right, or a claim at least, to be reimbursed for expenses that it has paid on your behalf. So if you're outside of the no-fault system, your involvement and the complexity of your case as it pertains to Medicaid becomes increasingly complicated, but it also may play a role, as we discussed a moment ago, even if you're involved in an auto accident.
There are so many different layers to this ever since that no-fault insurance came, and now with the Medicaid and the Medicare and all of the different things that go along with each one of those. Tom, if someone has any questions, which I'm sure they may, about Medicaid or their injury claim, where can they go to get more help?
Well, they can find us online at sinusdramus.com. They can give us a call at 616-301-3333. We offer, of course, free consultations for people who have a potential personal injury claim, and we're happy to discuss these or other issues. My general advice here is that if you have an injury claim and you are receiving Medicaid, don't make any assumptions and don't proceed unless you become fully informed.
Absolutely. Don't think that you know it all. You may even think you know it all. Make that one extra step. Call Tom and his crew at Sinus Dramus Law Firm, 616-301-3333 or sinusdramus.com to get more information. Tom, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you for having me, Todd.